This is a painting called Bewitched, and I believe this was my third show over at LA River. And again, the tagging is really minimal in the background. I really wanted the checkered background pattern to show, and this is one of the few times that I've meshed or used paint alongside with the gilding for the background. This is a painting called East versus West, also done in 2010 for my show at LA River. And I referenced historical samurais, but dressed them up in New York Yankees pinstripe and LA Dodger blue on one side. So it would be like the East Yankee jousting a Dodger. And here you kind of see in the background, I had a good friend of mine who did some block lettering in the back in black. Also, my friend Cad was able to do some huge throw-ups. I asked him to do these throw-ups as if he was painting a freeway wall or something like that. So it came out looking very authentic, looking very street. So this is the installation shot of the show, called Made in LA in 2011. Here we start coming into more recent works. So this painting I finished up right around September of last year. It's called Pacific Ghost, and it's referencing woodblock print and the samurai, who was a famous samurai. He's like carrying this huge anchor out of the ocean, and he happened to lose in this war battle. So he came back as a ghost. And I kind of try to, in all of my paintings, I try to appropriate something contemporary, a design or pattern, into what's old and historical. So I was able to use the camouflage patterning, which is sort of a Western icon, and imply it or implement it into his regalia. Is a painting called Southland Standoff. Another one of my favorites. It's a large painting, and it consists of like 8 panels. It's like 7 feet tall by 15 feet. And again, I had a good friend of mine do some block lettering in the background, and the tagging is very minimal. To make it more contemporary, I added a little helicopter, or a few helicopters, something that I'm so used to in LA, helicopters flying over my house. Now that I've painted so many samurais in action, I was able to get a lot more detail in these samurais and then in their armor and whatnot. And this time is actually the first time that I painted on one painting like 5 large samurai figures decked out. So it was a good challenge, and it took about 6 months to paint this painting. And now it's found a home in Australia, and it's at it's in the collection of the Art Gallery of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. And it's actually coming back for my solo show to LA, which is happening on the 27th of this month. And so this is the installation shot of Southland Standoff in Australia. And I felt very honored because they set this painting up amongst actual, samurai armor, samurai weapons. Those are some of my paintings, and now we go into my studio. I'm a little less embarrassed now because I used to have this in my mother's living room. I'd have to cover it every time I was done using a rag. And I was always afraid to have people come into the living room because I didn't want them to see how much spray paint I had. And this is my old studio. This is at my mother's home in the living room as well, obviously. And this is an image of one of my stencils being prepared as a drawing. And it is propped up in front of East versus West. And it's actually the figures of the LA Dodger figure, samurai, that was in that big painting, East versus West. And that's myself handling some fine metal. I think that's white gold. And there's some gold. So the gold comes in like 3 1/3 square. So it's just super monotonous work when it's gilding time. And that's me at my mom's house in the backyard. You can kind of see like this shadows of the clothes hangers and stuff. I lay down the stencil and block off with paper and weights. And these are actually fishing weights that my dad had been an avid fisherman, so I just took his weights and used it for my work, for my paintings. It's not that I like working flat, but the gold leaf and the nature of the panels kind of made me work flat. And so I would use if it were possible, I would have used frisket or some kind of film or paper that would attach or adhere onto the surface. But with the gilding, if I were to use something that's tacky or has adhesion, I could lift the gilding. So that's the reason why I use paper for my stencil. And here we come to some wall work, some public work, some recent public work. So this was at the Navy Pier in Chicago in 2012. It was a show called Big Art, and it was all like outdoor exterior pieces that were supposed to be huge. And it was a show that was put all together by my professor and mentor, Dave Hickey, who I studied under at UNLV. And so I was fortunate to take my crew out there, a few of my friends, and I think the wall was like 125 feet long, and we were under a freeway underpass, and that led directly into the pier. And this took about a week to complete, and that's the complete piece. Since I was walking into someone else's home and territory, and spray paint actually is banned or outlawed to carry or to have possession of in proper city Chicago. So I thought I'd dedicate some sort of idea for the city of Chicago, letting me spray paint one of their walls. And so I took their sports teams and tried to utilize either their colors or their logos. So, of course, we used the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Cubs, the White Sox, the hockey team, I forget, Blackhawks, and the Chicago Bears. And here's an installation shot of this group show that we had at the end of last year at the El Segundo Museum of Art in El Segundo, close to LA. And there was maybe 6 different graffiti crews from LA that painted sections of the museum. And each section we got was about 25 feet tall and about 20 feet long. And those are my friends that helped work on the mural. And so I painted the character. It's kind of obvious, I guess. Samurai character. And it actually is referencing this huge float parade that they have in northern Honshu, Japan, annually at the end of summer. And there are these huge floats that they make out of like paper mache, and they're lit from the inside of the figures. And the parade happens at night, and there's like maybe like a 50 to 100 people carrying the floats across the parade route. And that concludes the